Hey there rabbits, it's Hare Snippet Sunday. Time for me, Head Hare Phoebe from Warren Academy, to give you a little snippet of myself. This one's a story about timing. Something that I prejudge, because I think if you're someone that has a fair bit to do, which is most of us, trying to be time smart is the way to go, and you should allocate time to things, and you do. Have to guess, don't you? You have to guess roughly how long things are going to take. And so this little hare snippet story is about a really pleasant surprise that I've had a few times, that I try now to let it inform me on how to schedule things and how not to schedule things. So I had a task. It was one of those. It had a quite creative element to it, because I was having to select photos and images for a project that I was working on. It's quite an important project, and even if it wasn't, I'd like to do everything to the best of my ability and put my all into it. And I had it figured in my mind, it's probably, it's a 30-minute job, 40-minute job. I'll just schedule an hour for that, not a massive task. Which was a relatively fair judgment. It could have taken me that long. And I guess that's where my learning was. I'd woken up on the morning in question and, right, 9 o'clock, we'll just spend an hour and get my images and a few other little tasks around that, and wrap up this task for the project. And I figured it in my mind that this is probably one of the more creative things to do, so I was probably going to quite enjoy it. And I did, and I started really enjoying it. And half an hour passed, and I realised that the task did require a bit more of me. It required a bit more focus and attention and care. And it needed to be done really meaningfully. We've all heard the phrase, a picture tells 1,000 words. So perhaps this was much more important than I thought about the night before, when I was squeezing it into the first hour of my Monday morning. And I ploughed away at this, and I found all these creative juices coming out. I don't get to do massively creative tasks in the way that I'd like, as often as I'd like. And I made the decision halfway through to go, no, this deserves more time, more focus, more input, more diligence. It deserves due care and attention, this one, and I'm enjoying it. So I am just this is gonna take as long as it takes, and it's gonna be done really well. I spent about 4 hours on that task, and I was really proud of myself when I finished it. I was proud of what I had done with the task, and then I reflected on it and realised I'd learnt 2 things. What happened during the process was that I came across ideas and concepts and thoughts and feelings that I didn't expect, but that I knew immediately were going to be very, very useful to some other work, both targeted and in a general way. I found things that were very productive at lots of levels. So the time that I spent doing that one task had actually elicited a lot of ideas and inspirations for other things. It inspired me, it motivated me, it produced some content, both just in my mind and on my computer, that wasn't a waste of time at all. In fact, I had gained some aspects of my work that I was going to need, that I was going to use. I had discovered things. And so while I initially thought, this is going to take longer than I thought, once I got over that bit and started really getting into the task, really enjoying it, immersing myself in it and focusing on it, I was getting a lot more out of that task. So the 2 things that I learned, the 2 main things that I learned that I really appreciated in this process, was that many things might seem at the outset like they might be quite arduous and perhaps a bit of a waste of time, or not so much a waste of time, but we might feel this isn't the most productive use of my time, or I'd really like to spend this 2 hours doing, you know, A, B and C, because, you know, that really needs to be done, and or I'd this is going to just take so long, I'd really rather this be a shorter task. So I learned that actually when we really engage in something, we will probably get a lot more out of it, will elicit more things that we need, and even if that's just skills and practice at doing the actual task. So time is not wasted as much as we think, or at least as I thought anyway. This was a number of years ago, and yeah, probably had a bit much on my plate that week, but it was a good learning. And so I realised not to presume that I'm going to be spending time that's better spent elsewhere. So that was the first lesson. And the other thing that I learned, well, not so much learned, I think I had already learned it. I mean, I'm in my mid-40s, so I think I've probably already come to this realisation just through general sort of life experience. But the one thing that I realised more fully and took more notice of and decided to commit to was that, you know, we spend so much time working, getting things done and being human doings instead of human beings, that I learned that what's it all for if we can't immerse ourselves in a task that we knew at the beginning was going to be more creative, but that we had still deprioritised, or I should do this faster in the do this quicker to do tray. I learned that it's so worthwhile if you know there is going to be something in it that you enjoy, and despite the fact that you want that to be a faster task, get stuck into it. Enjoy it. You will get more out of it at all sorts of levels, and that's a really worthy use of time. And so I'm slightly more flexible than I was with some tasks. So I'll have my bad days where I do, there's some things I do still just have to rush, but I have the learning, and more than half the time I do try and go with this flow. With something starting to take longer, but I can sense that a lot is being evolved from it, I'll commit and I'll focus more. And so I found that a really, really important experience. So I just thought I'd jump in my chair here and do a little hair snippet about it. I wonder if you've ever come across this. Give us a comment if you have. Thanks for watching.